Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome everyone to the review of Venom: The Last Dance, the third film in the Venom trilogy and the Sony Spider-Man universe that doesn't contain Spider-Man. This film stars yet again Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, aka Venom. Also starring in this film is Chiwetel Ejiofor, Juno Temple, Peggy Lou, and Stephen Graham. In the film, Eddie and Venom are on the run from both of their respective worlds, and that's the that's the synopsis of this film, and that's pretty much the film. This is your typical Venom film. If you've seen the previous two Venoms, you've seen Venom: The Last Dance. This is a turn your brain off. Don't expect nothing because you're not going to get nothing. This is just 2 hours or hour and a half. I don't even know how long it was, but this is truly a shut your brain off, sit down and watch for sheer entertainment. There's nothing enriching about this film. I wasn't excited for this one. I was excited for the previous two, for a number of reasons. The first film I was excited for because it was Venom. Venom is a popular character in comics. Is that character is probably Spider-Man's deadliest foe in the comic books. And so I was super excited to see Venom on screen, and especially going back to Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. You had Topher Grace as Eddie Brock in that film and Venom, and it was bad. It was bad, and the reason that was bad because Sam Raimi did not want to put Venom in the film. He wasn't a fan of the character, so he didn't want to use him. But Sony kind of forced his hand into putting Venom in the film, and so we got a watered down version of that character, and it didn't work. So when we fast forward to 2018 when Venom came out, I was super excited because you have Tom Hardy, who is an exceptional actor. He's not a stranger to comic book characters. He was Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, and The Dark Knight Rises wasn't my favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy, but Bane stood out in that film. People still impersonate Bane with the voice. It's still a thing, and so Tom Hardy was awesome. Completely committed to that role. I was excited when they announced him as Eddie Brock. All right, cool. And if you read the comic books and you know how this character of Venom is, you're like, okay, it looks like they're probably going to make this an R-rated film. At least I was hoping it was going to be an R-rated film. Well, it wasn't. And so Venom, the first Venom, was more of a like a 90s action movie. That's what it felt like. It felt like a throwback 90s film. If it would have came out 20 years earlier, it would have been a colossal hit. Well, it was a hit. I think the film made like $800 million or something like that, close to $1 billion. And so it was a massive hit, don't get me wrong. But I mean, more loved, better received in the 90s. But it was something missing there. Well, number one, the biggest thing missing was Spider-Man. How can you have a Venom film without Spider-Man? It's kind of like the same argument people have about Joker. How can you have a Joker movie without Batman? And I get it, but this is different. Venom needs Spider-Man. Joker not necessarily, but that's a different story to talk about. Now we fast forward to 2021, somewhere up in there, when Venom 2 came out. Venom Let There Be Carnage. Now I knew that was going to be rated R because Carnage is a serial killer, and that is a very vicious character. Nope, didn't get the viciousness that we're used to in the comic books from that character. It was PG-13, and it was horrible. I could not stand. I've seen it once. I've seen the first Venom a couple of times, but Venom Let There Be Carnage, I seen one time. That was in the theater, and I committed not to watch it again. It was that bad to me. I couldn't stand it. Could not stand it. And so when we get to this film, when we arrive to this film, Venom: The Last Dance, the final film in this Venom trilogy, I wasn't excited. The trailers didn't do nothing for me, but at this point I'm like, okay, I gotta complete the set. I can't just you do the first two and not the last one. And so I really honestly went in here with no expectations, zero expectations. That way I wouldn't be disappointed. But for some strange reason, I still got disappointed in this film. It just did nothing for me. It was, I don't want to say boring, but it is lame. It's hard to describe. It's like a waste of time, a complete waste of time. This movie was a complete waste of time, especially with the characters. Now, Tom Hardy is great. Tom Hardy is the only reason to go see this movie. He really dove into this character. He's been playing this character in 3 films, even had a cameo in was it Endgame? A little post-credit scene. All right, that's all fine and good, but he really loves this character. You could tell. And he's good in it. I'm not mad at him. But it's the other characters, if you want to call them that. This film did the impossible task of underdeveloping every single character with the exception of Eddie Brock. Everybody else was so underdeveloped. They were extras. They were extras in this film. They had no character backstory. There was no character arcs. There was nothing to latch on to with these characters. When certain characters were eliminated, they died. Forget it. They died. You didn't care. It was like, okay, whatever. Go on to the next one. It was nothing. There was nothing about these characters. They tried a lame little backstory with one of the characters here that was kind of interesting, but they did nothing with it. They set it up and it was nothing done. It was like, okay, we're not going to worry about that. Let's focus back on Venom. It was silly to have these people in it. And some people that were in it didn't really need to be there. These characters were I don't know. It was a very confusing movie. Plot holes you can drive a bus through. I mean, it was a complete waste. This screenplay was horrible. This film is written and directed by Kelly Marcel, and this is her directorial debut. God bless her. God bless her, but this was not a good outing for her. Hopefully she could latch on to something else. I'm not the one that's going to say, she shouldn't direct the film no more. No, I'm not going to say that. But it's just, it was just a mess. It was all over the place, and yet went nowhere. It was. This was a mind-boggling experience. Now, there were some good things about this movie. It wasn't completely horrible. It wasn't unwatchable. It was just bad. But the good things in it, like I mentioned before, Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy and the chemistry between him and Venom, which is kind of redundant because Tom Hardy is Venom. He does the voice for Venom and everything. So it's weird to say the chemistry between the two were excellent. I would hope they're the same person, but you enjoy that relationship of these two characters, Eddie Brock and Venom, and that was done well. That was done well in this trilogy. I did like that. Um, the final battle was cool. The final 15 minutes or so, really cool, action wise. Story wise, no, it still made no sense story wise, but the action that was going on was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. I, that's about it, man. The end of the film where you kind of get emotional. There's some emotional beats in there. I got a little emotional because Tom Hardy, his performance made me get emotional. But when you think of the story of it all, you're like, it, was, it made no sense. Uh, Chichiwetel Ejiofor and Juno Temple, who are both phenomenal actors and actresses, wasted. They were just in the movie. Like I said, they were extras. This was the most paycheck movie you could ever think of for them two. That's all I was thinking about the whole time. I'm like, no, this is clearly a paycheck movie. They had nothing to do, and it's not them per se. It's not like they were mailing it in. They had nothing to work with. Absolutely nothing to work with. The actor who plays Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man. I can't pronounce his name right. Was it Ray Ives? I can't pronounce his name. But you know him when you see him. He's in this movie. He did good. I enjoyed him. His character was very. He stole every scene he was in. Him and Tom Hardy. I liked them together. That was nice. But once again, it was out of place. It really didn't fit the tone of the movie. But then again, you ask yourself, what tone? Because the tone was all over the place. This was just a bad movie. I'm just disappointed. And this is somebody who went in with his brain turned complete. Actually, I left my brain in the car. I didn't even bring it with me, and it still disappointed me in the end. But there was also a villain in this film. Of course, it's a comic book movie. Um, if you into the comics, you know who this character is. Noel. You know who Noel is. Noel is a beast in the comics. And so I was excited about that. Get to finally see him on the big screen in live action. Like, okay, this is going to be cool. No. No. They fumbled that. And I mean, fumbled it bad. This was senseless to use him in this movie. Senseless. For the reason, well, I can't tell you because it's spoilers. I can't tell you. But it's stupid. I'll just say that. It's dumb. I don't like how they did that and how it's quote unquote set up. Because there's a post credit scene. So if you go see it, which I recommend you save your money. But hey, if you want to go to go see it, there is a post credit scene or mid credit scene. Yeah, man. Venom: The Last Dance. I wish that Sony would just stop. Just give these characters back to Marvel proper. Stop making these Spider-Man movies outside of Spider-Man. With Venom and Morbius and Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. That comes out, I think, next month. You know, I'm not excited about that either. Mainly because it's Sony. The trailer looked good. The trailer did look good for Kraven the Hunter, but I have zero confidence in it because it's Sony. Sony messes up Spider-Man movies. At least the live action ones. The animated ones, great. The Spider-Verse films are excellent. Sony does a phenomenal job with the Spider-Verse films. Love those movies. But the live action ones, oh my God, man. What? I don't get it. Let Marvel cook. Let Kevin Feige do his thing with Spider-Man because this is you're embarrassing yourself at this point. You're embarrassing yourself with these films. Incorporate Spider-Man. Had they found a way to incorporate Spider-Man in these films, they would have been I'm not going to say 10 times better, but more interesting. You know, these are villains, and you turning them into anti-heroes or just full-blown heroes makes no sense to me, because if you do cross them over to start fighting Spider-Man, how are they going to fight Spider-Man? Because they're heroes themselves at this point. You know, you done took the mystique off of them. You know, the threat factor away from them, and so they messed up. They really did. They messed up with these characters, but hopefully down the line we can press the reboot button, the restart button, and get proper interpretations of these characters. But as it stands right now, Venom: The Last Dance, which is currently in theaters, gets a letter grade of a D plus. Yeah, it's you know, it is what it is. It's a Venom film. Like I said, if you enjoyed the first two Venom films, you're gonna enjoy this. This is just me. This is my personal opinion of it. You know, but if you didn't care for the first two Venom films, you're not gonna care for this one. There's nothing different. Same thing if you liked them. It's nothing different. So you probably will like it if you enjoyed them in any capacity. But as for me, I'm good. I've seen it. Yeah, I'm good. But I would like to know your thoughts. What did you think of Venom: The Last Dance, the final film allegedly of this franchise? You can let me know by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, and please like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Venom: The Last Dance. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.